I have deep respect for what Mr. Capuano, striving to work in a bipartisan way, has tried to achieve. Adopting the Capuano Task Force recommendations will provide the public and the House with the assurance that credible allegations of wrongdoing will be addressed by the Ethics Committee in a timely fashion. I emphasize the word credible because I have no doubt that the main target of this who do you think the main target of any outside groups to this group will be? You're looking at her. You are looking at her. But I am willing to take that risk because I also trust, yes, I also trust my polite colleagues. I also trust that this group will rid itself of frivolous, baseless complaints and send a message to those who would file repeated frivolous complaints that is their price to pay to do that. I consider this a protection. It will bring an additional measure of transparency to the ethics enforcement process. It creates this transparency, I think it's important to note, without compromising the House's constitutional prerogatives to discipline its members, without interfering with the work of the Ethics Committee, and without altering the substantive rules governing the conduct of the committee's deliberations. I fully realize that bringing non-members to this enforcement mechanism is not only a step forward, it is a departure. It is a departure from the traditions of the House. To those who have those concerns, I pledge that I will work closely with my friend, the Republican leader, Mr. Boehner, to jointly appoint the members of this new Office of Congressional Ethics, fair men and women who understand the importance of nonpartisan behavior and the compelling need to act fairly to protect the interest of the public, the House, and especially the members. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I pledge that the House leadership, and I know I listened with great interest to what Mr. Hoyer had to say about this, and thank you, Mr. Hoyer, for your extraordinary leadership on making Congress more accountable and live up to a high ethical standard. Our leadership will closely monitor the work of the new Office of Congressional Ethics and continually review all reasonable proposals intended to guarantee the highest ethical conduct and a more transparent and effective ethics process, whether they relate to the new panel or the Ethics Committee itself. If additional changes are required, we will propose them. And since I mentioned Mr. Hoyer's name, I want to associate myself with one of the remarks he made. I thought it was 30 days. Mr. Hoyer said 45 days, but in a very short period of time, according to the proposal that the Republicans were putting forth, in a very short period of time, if the Ethics Committee had not disposed of those charges, they would go to the Justice Department. They would go to the Justice Department. Well, the Ethics Committee is about the rules of the House, about conducting ourselves in a way that brings honor to the House. Many of those issues are not matters for the Justice Department. The Justice Department knows when its jurisdiction should weigh in. This is about the facts, the rules of the House, and sometimes the law of the land. It's not about hearsay, rumor, suspicion. I thought so. Somebody told me. It's about the facts, the rules, and the law of the land. That is all that matters. That is all that matters. I think that this evening, this Congress has an opportunity to send a message to the American people. And as we do, each and every one of us does as well. Our votes will speak for themselves. We are willing to take a chance to make a vote on something we might have written differently, and I don't know one bill I've ever voted for that I wouldn't have, something we might have written differently, but something that can strive to remove the doubt that is in the minds of the American people about the integrity of this body. I hope that you will all join in voting this. It is worthy of your support. I know that with my vote, I will be able to say I did everything I could respecting the work of those who undertook this for practically 1 year to come up with a proposal that was fair, that was effective, and that helped us drain the swamp and say to our bosses, the people who sent us here, we honor you with our service, and we pledge to you that we will always serve in a Congress that upholds the highest ethical standard. This is an important vote. I urge our colleagues to vote aye, and I thank Mr. Capuano once again for his extraordinary leadership. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.